After a slight delay, go ahead and get the March 18th meeting of the Hendricks County Redevelopment Commission started. First thing, I noticed that we have 5 members present today, so we do have a quorum. Next item on our agenda will be the approval of the minutes from our January 28th meeting. I think everybody's had an opportunity to review the minutes. At this time, I'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion or corrections or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. Under new business, the second item on our agenda was an update on a proposed economic development area. Inadvertently admitted was a resolution that will accompany that update. So with the commission's consensus, I'd like to add resolution 2026-07 to our agenda for today. And the first thing we're going to start with is an update on the 2026 legislative session. Greg or Adam, who would like to handle that?
Go ahead, if you want. Pretty simple.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Adam Sturl, Barnes and Thornburg. Not a whole lot this year in legislative session. Development. The major one is the June 15th pass-through report. If that is not done on time, there could be an automatic pass-through of 5%. But Greg and Ian will help keep you guys on track and get all that done and filed in time. That did not used to have a penalty, but now it has a very harsh penalty. Otherwise, now TIF can be used for daycare capital projects, if you so choose, but that was added to the list of potential uses. Then a couple other very technical things that don't really apply to Hendricks County at all.
So minimal legislation impacting us for
Correct.
2026. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Now we're going to switch gears and go back to the first item under new business will be the annual financial reports.
Or she still has some of them printed.
Yes, I have 3 of them ready and the rest are finishing up.
Do you want to
Do
do
we
item
start with the
number?
3?
We can do that, or do item number 2 if you want.
Okay, being flexible, we can switch to item number 2. This is an update on a proposed economic development area, as well as the approval of a resolution regarding the same. So, Adam, this is probably,
And maybe I can lead in first, if I
Okay.
can. So you have in front of you, and there should be some extra copies
There
laying
are.
around. Okay,
Probably
because I
extras.
had over 10 of them made, and are they?
The extras are down, the extras are down here.
Down here, okay. So, because I think everybody else, I got you guys. So, as you know. There's that one. Okay. So, as you know, this is something we started looking at last year. We looked at basically taking the TIF area down here, the allocation areas, and you're welcome to join me. Come on up.
Just the economic development area.
Yeah, well, taking the TIF areas down here and really creating one economic development area, including these allocation areas and going up, like we said, last year and last meeting, State Road 39, not going out anywhere, and then taking into account the new hospital property, if we did that correct. So this is to be able then to use, as we talked about, some of the TIF dollars down here to help the fire and EMS and anything that may come about later on with the hospital property on infrastructure or whatever. So this is not expanding or creating a new allocation area. So we're not like creating another annual report or anything like that. So at this point in time, but really giving us the flexibility of saying in or serving, and it's directly in. And so Adam's got the resolution and he'll go through that. Again, it's something we've been talking about. We've talked with the commissioners and, you know, it seems like everybody understands it and is supportive that we understand at this point in time. So.
Yes, thanks, Adam Sturwell, Barnes and Thornburg. So the first map I would have you look at is the one with all the colors. So, and as a quick refresher, you can have economic development areas, and then you can have allocation areas, and that's commonly referred to as a TIF district. But you can have several or numerous in an economic development area. The quick shorthand is kind of think about the economic development areas where you could kind of spend the TIF, and then the allocation areas where you're going to collect the TIF. But you need the allocation area to be in an economic development area. So down here are 3 economic development areas currently, 70 West, West Point, and 7039. Then you're going to create a new one called the 2026. It'll get simultaneously consolidated to the Consolidated Liberty Economic Development Area. That's the second map that you see that's all red. So instead of having 3 separate ones, you'll have one economic development area. As Greg said, there's no new TIF capture, so nothing is additionally being captured. All the allocation areas are remaining the exact same. Almost all of them have bonds outstanding, so absolutely nothing is changing with any of the allocation areas, only the economic development area, and really just making it easier to spend.
So it just changes how you can spend the dollars.
Exactly, and the location, being able to make it easier up there on the, for any fire or other improvements.
And I guess he said change how we can spend, but
Flexible
more
assets. Yeah.
Expand.
Got it.
the area in which we can expend.
So going forward, we will still have to look individually at each of these allocation areas,
Yep.
even though now it's all part of a larger economic development area, giving us the ability to use dollars created in the south at a different location.
Correct. So all the allocation areas are unchanged.
Okay.
So when it first started, the conversation was, can we move like the 7039 up there? And I was like, sure. And then it was like, well, we add West Point too, and then can we add 70? So instead of having 3, going up different roads and then converging together, we just consolidated that into one. But none of the allocation areas have any changes whatsoever.
And therefore, it won't change the auditor's books and records either.
And then going forward, we'll still have to look at each of the allocation areas and make a decision on our ability as to whether or not or how much of the AV we can pass through
Correct.
to the underlying units.
So any of the bonds outstanding their security is unchanged. This is much more just of an
Is
administrative.
this like a speculative thing that you do for anticipated activity, or is there a precursors off in the distance?
Well, we have been discussing.
Okay, I missed the meeting, so sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's right. We even discussed last meeting, it should be in the minutes, that it is anticipated that a fire and EMS building for Liberty Township, we've been talking about either improving or building a new one over the last year. And there's anticipation that that will be built on some of the hospital property. And it's my understanding the hospital and Liberty are working on those details. I don't know if they're set in stone at this point in time. So in anticipation of that, that is this area. And so, and that would allow, we thought maybe at one point in time, the fire and EMS would be down here, or we might go ahead and revamp the old station, but all that was kind of discussed over last year, and not to do that since really for purposes of responding to everybody, being up here, up here, if the fire MES down here, matter of fact, Liberty Township did basically a heat map to see the response time and the Liberty Township trustees here, but the answer is this was an optimal location. Okay, and so if it all gets worked out with the hospital, and then the county and the township put together a partnership to build the building, obviously, we've always said from day one that number one, we need these areas to pay for their fire protection and to help with fire protection, and that will, one way we can get that done by using the increment and like the 2 buildings that I'm going to go over in the annual report that we've been saving up to do this for quite a while. Along with, we can't also forget the roundabouts. We're still talking, and that's still on the capital improvement plan.
Yeah.
So, might have been a little longer explanation, but wanted to bring, I forgot that
Yeah.
You can summarize this resolution in one sentence of allowing the TIF in those areas to be spent up further north.
Do the bondholders even have to be notified?
Nope.
Nothing.
This is more of an administrative, your ability to spend the TIF that is not pledged to the bonds. And plus it helps them if you do either fire or EMS, because it'll serve their territory or their locations.
So I'm guessing what this means, Greg, in that future financial reports for each of the districts, if dollars are used at a new location, then you'll have to show that on the reports.
Absolutely.
For each district.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, and I haven't mentioned this to Adam, but even if we would put together a project that you would start to fund, we actually like to have the Redevelopment Commission do a resolution, even if it's funded by cash, that it is something that you are doing and trying to do. And that way it helps the State Board of Accounts when they come to see Ann and say, did the Redevelopment Commission approve these expenditures? So yes, all that accounting will take place.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for these 2 gentlemen? Okay. Added to the agenda is Resolution 2026-07. It's a resolution to declare an area as a consolidated Liberty Economic Development Area, and it also amends the declaratory resolutions of the current economic areas. I'll take a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
I second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
I will probably abstain from the vote just because of my employer and the ownership of the land in that area, is that conflict of interest.
Okay, Mr. Summers will be abstaining from this vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. Now we will go back to the top of the agenda, Mr. Garitas and the annual financial reports.
Which is the first report that you have. I'll stay in your order.
Which one is it?
Whatever's on top.
Well, Greg, there's nothing on top of it.
Oh, gotcha.
I
Okay.
think they're all different.
Give us a
Judge,
name.
I'll have you run the show. Well, I have all 5 of them, so
Okay.
you won't have all.
Okay.
So the first one you have is
The
what?
first one I have is the West Point Business Park Economic Development Area.
Got it.
Okay. Doesn't say Hendricks County?
It says
only?
Hendricks
Yes.
only.
Perfect. So this is basically the West Point Business Park, Hendricks County only. The reason why we say that is if you would go back into the old days and or page 2, you would know this as basically the Walmsley area. And you would say, wait a minute, wasn't that in 2 counties? The county of Hendricks and the county of Morgan, right here on page 2. And we would say, yes, it was. And now you know, several years ago, what we did is we carved out the commissioners worked with Morgan County, and you all worked with Morgan County, and we carved out that kind of half building almost, or building, that is down there in Morgan County. So that's why we label it Hendricks County only. The developer at that point in time knew we were doing that, and I'm now on page 3. And so all of the history kind of is on page 3. But the really important point is if we go to our revenue page, what we will see is that on page 7, you will see that we have the county level TIF allocation fund. And this is the one where what we collect is pretty much what we pay out, okay? And Judd, I believe you had an observation when we gave you a preliminary that you should note that that column at the end there is as of 3/1/26. So we just pull it to the date of the report, which is March 1. So we kind of update it for January and February. Remember, this is the report that we'll basically upload in for the Redevelopment Commission, and then you'll verify it's been uploaded in pinned. Okay, so that's, we keep it up to date to give them the most current information. The amortization, the revenue that's expected is on page 8. And as you can see, we're increasing our assessed value as the, basically the abatement rolls off, and then the allocation dollars go up. And as those go up, then we will be redeeming the debt. If you look on page 9, you see the county reimbursement obligation, the 2024 TIF debt service, the combined and the estimated. And in each of the years, it appears like we will have more than enough to pay it off. Someone might say, why is that kind of on page 9? Doesn't that combined debt service, or that 24 TIF debt service, looks a little strange when, did you miss a few digits? No, that is $600 and $600 and $10,600 because the developer wanted to make sure that he was able, if there was any shortfalls, that he was still able to basically get paid, okay? So it was set up because this one will terminate at the date of payment. Correct, Adam? I think this one does.
I think the final payment's also.
Is
Right.
2036.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's basically what's happening there. And again, we pay back the county for, that money was used for sewer many, many years ago. And we pay back Walmsley Development Company. So, any questions on that report? Pretty straightforward. And I think you remember this report too from last year, some of us. Jane wasn't here either.
Here last year.
You were, yeah, I think for this whole thing. Okay, what would be the next report?
Ronald Reagan North,
Okay, great, that's an easy one. So,
Some of these.
okay, Ronald Reagan North. I think what I want to do is, on this one, is point to the map, because as you know, well, this map's not that great in here, but as you know, this is an area that we put into effect many, many years ago. Actually, I'll take you to the report write-up. The allocation area on page 2 was created in 2017. So that was our base year. And, you know, nothing really happened out there. And actually, Brownsburg annexed into there, if you remember, some certain items in certain areas. And that really kind of started detracting from the allocation area. In 2025, last year, you should remember that we did the Ronald Reagan Parkway bonds for the last segment of Ronald Reagan, and we all talked about where that ends and all that other stuff, and we got the expert Denny here who probably drives it every other day to see how that's going. So that is happening. It's under contract and working very, very well. And so what you will see then is on page 3 that the county will use as much as it collects from this district, Ronald Reagan Parkway District. And let's say it collects $5,000, it'll use it and just offset the economic development payments that are coming from audit to pay the bonds now. So we knew that obviously it wasn't enough, but the council and the commissioners made a conscious decision to issue the bonds. And the bonds, by the way, are on page 7, over 27 million, if you remember from last year. And that allowed that section to be under contract. Okay, the primary is, we believe, is the TIF. The secondary is the edit, and we expect to use edit, as you can see from page 6. The current estimate at this point in time is around $26,000. Maybe we get lucky and it goes up, exponentially over the next couple of years. But our job in this report is to communicate 25, not to really go into the future of where we're going here. Okay, so, and you see the cash balance on page 5, $66,000. So, this one, even though it was put in, remember we did this as a allocation area because that's how we built the first mile of Ronald Reagan Parkway many, many years ago. When, when we were there north in Avon. It wasn't even in Avon yet. It was at the 36 and Ronald Reagan Parkway Drive. So questions on Ronald Reagan?
Greg, just real quick comment, when you said that it'll be finished with the bond issue that was sold, it's gonna be finished up to 1,000 north. There's about 3/4 of a mile left to get it to the Boone County line. We're waiting on Boone County to kind of give us where they want it to intersect with what they have to do to take it to 65 then. So, but that will happen at some point. Yeah.
Any further questions on that report?
I think we're good.
What is your next report?
7039 Commerce Park.
Does it say Sunbeam here?
No, it says GDI.
Okay. Let me grab that one. Okay. So this is the GDI area, which is is south of 70 now, right? And if you're going into Monrovia, it's to the right. Okay. And so got a huge warehouse right there on the corner. The important thing here is if you go to Exhibit A, you will see in the middle of that paragraph, it is expected the RDC will continue to pass through AV in the amount of $21,085,700. Keep in mind when that AV has been passed through, we have annually capped that amount, and so that goes to all the underlying taxing districts. Their AV is that much higher because of it. So so the next important part of the document would be if we go to page 5. As you can see, this is again one of these that as we capture the AV and we capture the dollars, that this is paid out to the developer bonds. Keep in mind, this is one of those developer bonds like the Walmsley bond, or the first one I went through. There is no property tax backup or any other tax backup by Hendricks County on these debts, okay? There is on Ronald Reagan, obviously, because that is our debt, being Hendricks County debt, okay? And you can see, so what money we bring in, we send out, and then if you go to, there's various other statements here, but if you would go to page 8, you will see that the expected revenue coming in to pay for debt service and estimated revenue for county projects. So what we're saying here is if you look at note number 1, we're passing through 21 million. Number 2, 50% goes to debt service, 50% is retained by the county. And this would be, again, one of those opportunities that we're trying to address in the resolution we had earlier. Number 1, this would allow us to be able to take these dollars to even help the roundabouts and or the fire station and or anything in the broader economic development area. So that's the amount of money that we anticipate on an annual basis. The estimated bonds that are being put together or were put together in 2020 is on page 10, and page 11 is the county reimbursement obligation. Page 10 was the developer obligation. Okay, so those are what we're servicing at this point in time, and when revenue gets large enough in the debt service column, we would be able to start redeeming bonds from the developer and from, I believe 50-50, both. We would redeem the county share and the developer share. The developer share is obviously a higher interest rate. So, questions on GDI? Okay.
Next one will be 70 West Commerce Park Sunbeam.
Okay, so this one may take a minute or two, but the Sunbeam property now, as you know, this is on the north side of 70, towards the right, really developed out quite a bit, and so has room to grow if it does grow. And on page 2, you will see an important point, okay? The county authorized $20 million of bonds in 2021. This is what the developer thought would take to fulfill all of the roads and the water and sewer needs in that area. So we began that process, and as you can see, basically, we had a county reimbursement obligation of 1.5 also. Now, what has happened? Well, what has happened is the developer has pulled down some of the debt, and if you go to page 6, it has not pulled down nearly the 20 million, and in fact, the developer drew down on page 4 about 6 million, but the key is on page 6, we only have $2 left outstanding. Someone might say $2. Now that's kind of strange. Well, yes, that's so that we preserve the right on the debt and preserve the right on the redevelopment district or on the TIF district for the developer to further utilize what, assuming it comes back in and I'm assuming give you an update on the project. But that is the line of, I'm going to call it the line of credit that is still outstanding, okay? Adam, you look like you'd like to make a comment if you want, and you're welcome to.
Nope.
Okay.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. And so in order to hopefully have other things happen, maybe the tent, isn't pitched and they go home. That's one possibility. The other possibility is development starts happening again. There's some water and sewer things that probably would need to be worked out for that to happen. Or we stay status quo. We don't know, but this allows that future ability of about 14 million, of which, back at the time of origination, those estimates were good. It was good project cost that needed done in the water and sewer area and the road area. So at that time, it was valid, and I have no reason to believe that it's not valid today. But obviously, I would assume that if Sunbeam would start up again, they would probably call the commissioners and contact them and contact the regional sewer district and obviously work some things out and then come and give you an update. Okay? So that's really good news. So we'll have, as you can see on page 9, that is set up, and I believe on page 9 you will see that we have an automatic 10% assessed valuation pass-through. That's automatic. You make that finding in that resolution each and every year going forward. And so I believe then the county, subject to Adam telling me I'm wrong, will be able to utilize those dollars for county projects as we go forward, especially the roundabouts or anything like that. And so, that's good news, that sounds really good. And maybe, with the stalling out of warehouses, although I hear warehouses are coming back everywhere now, seem to be working on a lot of projects, and I'm sure you are too, Adam. So, questions on that? It's really spelled out on page 9.
Greg, Sunbeam has not stopped their planning at all.
Okay.
And they do plan to develop more to the west of where that is now. They will also, they are also planning to do work on road, is it 1000, that is, or whatever that road is. And because when the roundabouts go in, that road will not be able to go out to 39. Sunbeam will be putting a new road in that will allow you to go on 1000 and then go over to where the roundabout will come in. And that will actually improve traffic flow there a lot.
And then, Denny, you may have an update on the, I'll call them 4 roundabouts, but 3 that we're responsible for.
So 4 roundabouts on 39, 2 on the north side of 70, 2 on the south side of 70. On the far south side is Keller Hill Road. That's the road that divides Hendricks County and Morgan County. The state of Indiana, or NDOT, is putting in that roundabout completely on our taxpayer money, but their dime. The other 3 then that will be put in will be shared by the county, NDOT, and the developer. And we are meeting with the developers to get their commitments on how much they're going to put in for their part of paying for the roundabout. And that's underway right now. Yeah.
And so, Adam, also, I think what would be possible is if rather than Sunbeam incurring debt, if we had a couple million and we're not spending it right away, we could also then use that for those infrastructure and not, in essence, incur interest. So I want us to think about that if that happens as we go in the future, because the interest on this is not, it's usually 6 to 8%. And so, that's something we want to be very strategic with. I don't think we necessarily advertise that because we got a lot of roundabouts and everything else to do.
Yeah.
But that is one thing that became pretty obvious when I reviewed this report. And anytime we can, I see this still as the taxpayer's money, right? And so the less we have to pay interest using the taxpayer's money makes sense. So we would just deduct it from the line of credit. Dollar for dollar. So, okay, any questions on this?
I think I found an error I want to bring to your attention.
Sure.
On page 9,
Okay, I'm there.
For payable 2026, you're showing the base and pass-through, $7,752,000, some change. But if you go to the parcel analysis,
Okay,
it's a different number, it's only 541,000.
okay.
I think someone just,
So I'll take that one back to my team and we'll double check because we do get a download from Ann. And so we'll want to make sure those kind of match up with the download.
my hunch is page 9 is correct. With the
Okay.
parcel analysis.
Yeah, parcel analysis, maybe something on the download didn't, because we gotta upload the parcel analysis to the state. So I will make that note on that report. Thank you very much. In here, something's-
Those numbers are the same. I see.
Okay, what's the next one, if there's no other questions on this one?
It's the 70 West 2021 expansion.
Sandy, is there one in there?
Yeah. Yeah. County's area of Sunbury, okay. Okay, so this is the Sunbeam area again, and you might say, well, wait a minute, how can you have two allocation areas for the Sunbeam area? Well, we've got one for Sunbeam and we've got one for the county. This is the two buildings that I've been talking about or talked about earlier that we were capturing for basically fire and EMS protection as we go forward. We knew we would need it. On page 2, this allocation area was created in 2021. We kind of arm wrestled with, I'm going to call it arm wrestle, with Sunbeam. They obviously wanted all their buildings and we wanted some, okay? Because we knew the fire and EMS and there was needs coming for the county. So these two buildings were taken out and set up in their own TIF district. On page 5, you'll find that we have accumulated some revenue, approximately $459,000. And I believe that, yeah, any of those reversing entries were done and in the past, so I believe that to be a true balance. The buildings on page 6, they are built, it is my understanding they're occupied, okay? And they are rolling off on their AV, as you can see on page 6. So based upon current build-out and abatement roll-off, we're expecting in 2026 around $435,000. So this is really, really kind of awesome because, and we got to try and maintain that because this is probably the biggest part other than what happened on Sunbeam, and if Sunbeam starts up, this is the one that's going to generate money to be able to service the debt or do anything on the fire and EMS. The other ones, well, I think, subject to you all's approval, would probably end up going to the roundabouts and things like that. But times, roundabouts, any ideal, Danny, it would probably be 28 before we built them, or 27. Any thoughts on the 3? God, okay. Well, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. I want to say 27, not 28.
Okay.
But it's going to, part of it depends on our getting the firm commitments from the developers and what they're going to put in. But I think 27 is a good date for when they would begin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those lights are getting busier and busier.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. because I travel through there. So, any questions on this? This is pretty simple. No debt, no, it's our, what I call our, or Hendricks County's 2 buildings. So. And then, is there a final one?
I think that's.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, great. So any other questions?
Any questions for Mr. Garachaz on these? If you would like, we could have him go back through these again.
Page by page.
Thanks, very thorough. Yeah.
And thank you very much for making the copies.
I'm sorry, I even responded to the email. I
To
got
Judd's?
I got 2 emails completely switched. I made a bunch of copies of something I didn't even make copies of. I'm glad it got printed.
Well, yeah, we try and run it through Judd and then make sure and yeah.
Sounds like you're human like the rest of us.
Yeah.
So,
Next
and
time it'll be better.
it's a very big county and we know you're very big, busy. So,
Thank you.
okay, oh, yes.
I- Just because we're talking about that area down there as part of the discussion, I don't know if this would be an appropriate time for me to make some additional comments about some things going on there, or I don't know the agenda. Is there anything else on your agenda?
There was just comments, but if you'd like to make some comments,
Okay, I've got
Denny.
some comments. So, Hendricks County has what's called Hendricks County Regional Sewer District. And the Hendricks County Regional Sewer District has been planning to build a regional sewer plant, wastewater treatment plant, down at 39 and 70. All of those buildings that are in that development, Sunbeam, Walmsley Side, the other areas, they are served right now by wastewater treatment plant out of Monrovia. And the county obtained what's called EDUs from the Monrovia treatment plant, and we still have like 150 EDUs left that we can tap into if Sunbeam, others want to expand and they need that to handle their wastewater that comes out of that. The problem is Monrovia doesn't have the capacity to even though we have purchased or have obligation to purchase 150 EDUs. So that's part of the reason we wanted to develop our own treatment plant down there, which could not only serve additional needs for that area of development, but we thought it could expand to Hazelwood, to other parts of Southwest, the Liberty Township area, and so on. So we are still working on that. We went to the state, and it escapes me what it's called, IURC board, and applied to them to get a permit to begin work on the wastewater treatment plant. Monrovia filed an objection with the IURC, and everything wasn't presented quite right. So the IURC did not approve our permit to begin work on the plant that we wanted to build. And we are now in the process of going through, I'll call it appealing that. It's really objecting to that process so that we can get a permit to build a plant down there, and that's underway. I think, I feel pretty good that we will end up being able to do that. It's not gonna hurt Monrovia at all. They've got enough going on with that new data center that's being built down there in Morgan County to the east of Monrovia, and they've got their hands full with that. So we're gonna try to move as quick as we can to get that wastewater treatment plant built, and then we can expand that out in that area. So just FYI.
Thank you. Mr. Butler, any update? I know you presented to us earlier this year on a proposed fire station.
I appreciate your guys' work on this and the work the commissioners are doing for Liberty Township residents and myself. We're making some moves of what we're daring to do too. As you'll probably hear in the next couple of weeks, we're actually trying to get a petition together right now to petition the commissioners to form a fire protection district for Liberty Township. We feel like that's our exit strategy of trying to make this work for the future. Because right now where we're at, it would be years and years and years and a lot of catch up, a lot of playing catch up games. We got the financial studies back from Greg's company here a couple of days ago on Friday, so we're starting to roll that out information wise. Our residents will know that. So what we're planning at this stuff that we're at this stage of working, it's a county. It will, if the commissioners go with it and we do form this protection district, we could actually expand it to other townships. As you guys know, the Senate Bill 270 that got approved. That's the township merger bill this year. So a lot of townships in Hendricks County are going to start finding out by December that they're no longer going to be in positions where they're going to make, there's going to be townships that are going to have to group. They're going to have to basically merge townships, like we may pick up Franklin and Clay as a township. So you'll have one trustee. But again, this could be something that for the future of having a way to say, okay, that's great. Because as we know, as I've made a point to you guys, fire and EMS is the EMS side of it is the big enchilada. I mean, that's right now, if Liberty Township, we're up to 1,400 runs right now. When I came on in Clayton, we had 125 in 1992. So we're making 4 to 5 runs a day out of Clayton. We've been to Stilesville, Coatesville, Amo with our ambulance medic. We've been to Plainfield a bunch. We're covering about 90%, as you guys know, as I've made my presentation to you guys, ALS, by doing this fire protection district. And the thing that we're moving forward to, this exit strategy, as I call it, it's going to allow us to possibly put 2 full-time ambulances in the south part of the county that are county-owned and county-ran, so that they have more control over, instead of relying on a city or a town municipality to do it, it'll be you guys in the county will have more say into what's going on. That's why we kind of re-switched gears with this whole station development, partnership with HRA, or HRH and the Brenneman Farms, putting that station in Belleville, because like they've said earlier, that is actually strategically, if you're looking at a station location, center of township's the best place. And it also benefits the Hinkie development because it's literally 1 mile from this national course that they're going to put in. As you know, Plainfield, we would be relying on Plainfield to cover it because supposedly they want to annex it, which is fine if they do. But the nice thing about a fire protection district is all the EMS fire money, once the district is formed, stays in the district. So it doesn't get used like what Plainfield does with Heartland Crossing. That's been in there for 20 years and they've reaped the benefits of fire tax rate, but never supplied service to it because Mooresville and Decatur was closer. So now they're trying to build a station down there because they're in the hot seat. So I think this is where the future is, and I appreciate your guys' work. You guys approved the Ithaca study when we did that back. And that's a good station layout. It's basically a common, I think it's something, it's awesome. I'm excited.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Also, I want to welcome Mr. Brian Michael to Hendricks County, Superintendent of the Mill Creek Community Schools. We don't go through very many school superintendents in this county, so when changes happen, it's kind of noteworthy. So I want to welcome Brian to Hendricks County.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
One more, I was talking with Adam, and maybe since you approved that resolution, maybe we should inform you of the next step, because there are other steps.
That would be great. What is that next step?
It's not that.
So from here, we'll go to the Planning Commission, then it'll go to the county commissioners, and then it'll come back for a public hearing later before this body. So 3 more steps.
Any other comments for today? I know we'll have to meet again sometime prior to June 15th to approve pass-throughs.
Yep, I think that's next up.
So should that be in April, May?
And will you be doing that? I think you did it last year, or Adam did, I'm not sure,
Sorry, what was that?
I think I just drafted the resolution.
the resolution.
You just gotta tell me what to do.
Yeah, so we can put the numbers in and he'll draft the resolution and then get it to you. So either the April or the May meeting. And those are set for the third Wednesday, right?
We're holding the third Wednesday of every month for possible meetings.
So,
You wanna do, are you gonna meet every month if you don't?
No,
have
we're
it?
just holding it.
Okay, then I would skip to May, because then we'll be back time for the public hearing to wrap up.
oh, okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah. That way you just have one meeting with those two things.
So we need to have the April meeting or just the June?
Sounds like at this point, no April,
Yeah, just May.
May,
Or just the May meeting?
Okay.
subject to anything may or may not happen between now and then.
So we will hold the April date just in case, but for certain, we are going to meet in May
And
to
I-
approve
I
the
need to check my
pass-throughs
schedules.
as well as any other business. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I'm gonna declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being a part of this. Appreciate it. Good to meet you.
Oh, are you?
Good to see you.
That first meeting I'm having in April.
Okay.
Residential mailer.
Something to sign.
So we're gonna